Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe, from the comics, TV, and movies. We go from Earth 616 to the Multiverse to Hell's Kitchen in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance Assemble.
Assemble.
Volume 2. Oh, you know what I just noticed? We're gonna
That mic up. There we go. The mic is better. David failed me at this point. So let's try this again. Alliance Assemble.
Assemble.
Volume 200 and I believe 90. There we go. 290. 10 episodes until the big 300 at this point. And Daredevil is back. My mic is now properly a thing. I rely on David to say, nope, he would have called something out at that point. Nope. Thanks, David. Take a week off.
I was like, it sounded a little bit louder, but I was like, I haven't talked to you in 2 weeks, so maybe I'm just misremembering.
Nope. So sorry for that poor intro at that point, but yes, as I used to, as events came up or shows or movies, I would change that last part, and then it just kind of stuck with TVA for a while because I just wasn't moved to do it. You better believe I'm moved to change it for a little bit at this point from the TVA to Hell's Kitchen. Yes. Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1 drop. David and I are going to talk all about it. And guess what, ladies and gents? We actually have legit news to talk about, too. It's not just an episode breakdown. We actually have some legit news to talk about this week. But rest assured, we have 8 weeks of solid Marvel Alliance content coming at you with everything Daredevil and whatever decides to take a break with news. But you know what? We are so excited. We have been chomping at the bit for this. So how's been your week, David?
Week's been good. I'm glad to be back. I missed last week, but thankfully Mr. Hines was able to step in, and he got to step in on a week where there was something substantial. So the curse of Hines was broken. I was so happy for him with that, but so jealous that I wasn't there to talk about that amazing trailer that I've probably watched 10 times.
Guessing you liked it.
Yeah, I had a friend over the house, and we were just talking and laughing about something. I was like, "Oh, have you seen the trailer?" And they were like, "No, I haven't seen it yet." So I put on the trailer, and then they seemed confused, and I was like, "You do remember I think?" And they're like, "No, I never watched the last movie." So then I was like, "Stop." We got about 20 seconds of the trailer. I stopped it and then put on the last Spider-Man movie. I'm like, no. We're watching this instead. We're grabbing drinks. We're sitting down. We're watching this damn movie.
Why do I think you planned this out saying I'm going to find a way to work this in? Yes, we are glad that Mr. Hines also did 2 weeks of Fast and Factor Fiction as well. So, no, we want to appreciate Travis and for coming back on at that point, subbing in 2 weeks in a row. We really do appreciate it. But yeah, this week I'm at time of recording. I had just gotten back from an evening school event, and it went very well. But it's been a long day. I'm very, very tired right now. But no, the week's been good. Busy. Weather's in North Carolina. It's not unheard of to get 4 seasons in a week, and that's what kind of we felt like. We started the week with really cold winter. Now we've gotten 2 days of spring. We're getting summer tomorrow, and then 60 degrees. So we're gonna call that like early winter. Or early fall, actually. Excuse me. So four seasons, 1 week. Welcome, North Carolina.
It was like that in Missouri last week, where we had ice on Monday, snow on Tuesday. By Friday, it was 92 degrees, I believe, and then Sunday it was 60.
Yeah. So you know it. So we got Bears Lair in the chat. I had to watch Daredevil as soon as I could. Over 700 million people watched the trailer in the first day it was out. Yeah, apparently it's like one of the, if not the most viewed trailer or something to that extent. So, people like their Spider-Man. But yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. We got a full episode breakdown. So let us get the network plugs out of the way. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 6 shows covering the wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, We've got 2 tiers. We got our tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job? That's our $1 tier. And then we've got our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive shows. Marvel Alliance, we've got 3 shows in the backlog there. We can watch this all day. The Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch, Tales from the House of X, where we watched all our favorite films from the Fox era of X-Men, and then the Baxter broadcast, the Fantastic Four retro film reviews. DC Alliance has got the DC films through the years, and Joe has got on the 1st and the 15th of every month his Multiverse Minutes, Disney Dives, where he looks at the animated classics of Disney in chronological order. I believe, if I remember, I think the one he recently dropped with Hunchback of Notre Dame, I think that might have been one before, but it's great. He does a great breakdown of those, so check those out. Check out all the back content we have on there. We want to thank our patrons. We cannot do this without your support. And if you're not a member of our Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/GUA network so you get all that lovely content. But if you're not a member of our Patreon, totally understand. But if you get a 30 to 90 seconds, rate, review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts, we greatly appreciate it. And last, but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor. Oh, hold on. There we go. As we do certain things on the show, there we go. All right, we want to thank our official sponsor, panelboundcomics.com, for omnibus hardcover collected edition needs. JP and the crew at Panelbound Comics has got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. We are in the middle of updating the early bird pre-order discounts. The June solicits are going live over the next couple of days. Marvel and DC are live on the site, so these are the new Marvel pre-order books. You can lock in and get that extra discount. We've got a bunch of epics. We've got Venom Modern Epic, the Sting of Scorpion. So when Matt Gargan became the Venom, not my Temple of Venom, but it happened. We've got ROM Epic Collection Volume 5. So that I think almost wraps it up. Oh, this is a good one. Benjamin Percy Ghost Rider Omnibus. I just want to say, as we pull this up for those of you who aren't watching at that point, but for those of you who are watching live, there's a very interesting character on this cover. And I think, David, what do you make of this? What do you make of this on this Ghost Rider book?
All right, let me pull it up on my screen. Oh yeah, I'm loving this with the claws, the flames running down the old school blue and yellow
Yep. Oh,
outfit.
Tan and brown. Yeah, we got Wolverine looking all Ghost Rider like. Yeah, if you want to check out that book and understand what's going on with that, yeah, that was a thing for a bit. Yeah, Ghost Rider by Benjamin Percy. We've got a lot of great books, but use that code MarvelGUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order, or MGUA-SIT for 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. It lets them know you're here, and we want to thank them for being our official sponsor. All right, let's get into it. This is Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1, The Northern Star. So we've both been very excited. We've been talking about this. We've broken down little trailers. We talked about this is supposed to be the season where everything's supposed to be. It's no rebooting midway through. We're not Frankensteining episodes and ideas together. This is supposed to be a big through line of consistency. So, high-level thoughts before we start breaking it down. What did you think of this first episode? Did it continue with your hopes and dreams?
Yeah, so I went into this. I saw what Brendan Davis had said, and I saw some others had said, talking about the first 2 episodes are slow and then everything ramps up. I did not find this to be slow. I found this to be methodical and one good cohesive story, like within the episode leading up to more. But there were just so many good points to this that I was just like, oh, I see what they're doing and where they're going, and I love it. I'm not as shocked by Matthew Lillard's character as some other people, because I just finished watching season 2 of Cross on Amazon Prime, and he is in that as a very, very bad, just straight up asshole. So, seeing him in a darker tone things, I'm not a lot of people who are like, oh, I will always see him as Shaggy. Like it, I'm excited to see where his character goes. But yeah, this Matt in this nice cohesive story, just I'm here for it, and I'm so excited for where the rest of the season is going to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily go as the fact of, neither one of us have seen, beyond this episode. So I can't, we'll next week we have 2 episodes to break down, 2 and 3, which is an interesting way of doing these drops, but neither here nor there. I would say, I wouldn't call it a slow episode. I'd call it, we're reintroducing our main players, and we're setting up the chessboard with the number of storylines that I was a little worried in the sense of how many storylines we're introducing just in one episode alone. But, I'm not going to necessarily poo-poo anything without kind of seeing if they're able to kind of coalesce this and not seem like we're going to do this all the time, talk about all 4 or 5 storylines all at once at this point. But
Yeah.
I think they did a good job with, like I said, laying down the board, see who our players are, and setting up kind of where we're at in Fisk's New York, where we left it. But I definitely enjoyed it. It was not the best first episode. It was not the worst episode. It just felt good to be back and seeing exactly how Matt, Karen, their resistance go against Mayor Fisk and all his cronies, including a government official that's not on the books. So
Yeah.
But all right, so let us start breaking this down. So according to the BB report, we open up with BB and the report. The people of New York are on Mayor Fisk's side. Maybe, because I view this as straight propaganda, and it's not necessarily, especially kind of the film lens, kind of like this kind of bright, kind of heroic lens as they're talking it. They're putting the anti-vigilante task force in a fun light, and everyone's happy. This is straight propaganda, but it's continuing kind of what we saw throughout last season with his BB reports.
Yeah, and I was watching something else, and they made this correlation, and it like really resonated with me. Is some of this is a throwback to older fascist eras where you had the propaganda pieces, you had the posters of the leader, you had all this symbolism, you had them putting their name on buildings and monuments and stuff like that to drive the people to this thought that they are in control. And I'm like, that felt like that's what Fisk was doing. Here's the propaganda pieces. Here's the I'm the savior. I'm the white knight in his white suit type moments. And so yeah, the BB report was very different from the gritty, grounded versions that we got last season, which were also a vehicle for advancing the story. And this is more of just straight propaganda.
Yeah, so we get past that, and we flash to Daredevil's watching a cargo ship in the port, the Northern Star. He's wearing his new suit / old suit, because all he did was basically paint it black and put DDs on it, which is basically, this is the first time we've seen him not only in a suit, but basically putting the double Ds on his suit, So it's an homage to the Shadowland suit, as many of us call it, but also it's also a homage to Charles Soule's suit during his run as well.
Yeah.
And so we'll kind of see exactly what it is. We know Charles Soule's run was a lot throughout last season. It's definitely going to be some things in this season. What did you think of this suit now you kind of saw it in action?
I agree with Charlie Cox, who said in an interview recently that this suit has jumped up to his favorite of the suits. For me, it was the same, seeing that black look and that kind of gritty look, and then having the double Ds on display, which it was beautiful to see. And then the way that they structured it with the lighting that really accentuated the color marks, and then really giving you the first full look of it in that red grainy video from the ship, like all of that just amplified the look of this suit and how menacing it came across.
Oh yeah, I mean we're in a new era of New York where he can't be necessarily trying to be more sneaky and more of where he's having to delve out of and coming out of the underworld. So he boards the ship and finds cargo crates full of illegal weapons. He looks a watch and as he has a cool, very cool fight sequence. Just this is exactly what we want to begin with. A cool, not necessarily a hallway fight sequence, but just showing how brutal Matt is at this point in taking everyone down.
Yeah. Yeah. A cool moment for me was when one of the guys sneaks up behind him and he's going to shoot, and Daredevil just stops. You can see that he hears and senses everything, ducks his head, moves out the way of it, and it was just, yeah, this was full Daredevil. And when he puts away the Matt part of him and just fully embraces the Daredevil, the man's a beast with the hand to hand.
Yeah. But as he takes him down, he finds these illegal weapons. But then the captain of the ship and his first mate, the captain's like, "Nope, we said this wasn't going to be captured. We can't let this happen. We know what to do." Basically, scuttles the ship, and so he senses it. We get that kind of like Daredevil. We're in his sense mode. He understands what's going on, so he throws a watch into one of the crates, so he might be able to find it, and the thing ships, and Daredevil eventually escapes because protagonist, and he winds up on shore. Matt heads back to where they're hiding out in Josie's apartment, and he tells her exactly what's going down, and there they start having some fun with each other, and so we're not having this. Are they? Will they? Won't they? No, they're shacking up.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's full on display here.
Poor, and this brings up the question we have, even though it's not mentioned at all in this one. Foggy, and we've seen the trailers, but it also looks to be a flashback at this point. They say, oh, yes, I know there's a storyline where Foggy was actually witness protection, and this could be there, but I'm more and more convinced that no, I don't think Foggy's coming back. I think it was a flip of what happened. Instead of Karen Page getting killed by Bullseye, it is Foggy that's getting killed. Now, I'm not saying I don't know if Karen is going to meet that same fate like she does in the comics, but I think they did a trade out, and I would not be surprised if Foggy is dead and we're not going to see him come back.
Yeah, I originally leaned more towards we're going to see him again, but after the way that this went, I get the feeling that he may legitimately be gone sans some flashbacks.
Yeah, but so we do see kind of, I don't know if it's this or later on we see Karen. I think it's later on we see Karen training and getting some fighting tips so that way she can stand her ground. I think it's later, right?
Yes. They have a moment where because it starts off with he is on the karate training thing, and then later she tries it herself, and then they do a little one-on-one with each other, but yeah, that comes a little bit later.
Yeah. So flashback to the harbor. The ship is now blocking the port, causing lots of issues for New York. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Fisk is on the scene, and he tells Blake to put the story out there that this was a terrorist attack by the vigilante of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil. Vanessa.
Yeah. In reality, the East River that's in New York is only about 40 to 60 feet deep. So a ship wouldn't fully sink. So it just being stuck there, turned up, blocking the rest of the port is so realistic for that actual era.
Yeah. And he wants to hunt for Daredevil and Karen Page to intensify, like squeeze it out. He says they're still here. They're causing this issue. And then we head out of New York to Washington, D.C., where we are introduced to Matthew Lillard's character, Mr. Charles. And he's at a bar watching the news about the Freeport blockage. And he's on the phone with someone, and he says that he can go up there himself because, he could always use the miles. Drops his phone into the glass, basically signaling that this was a burner phone. In the comics, Mr. Charles is a real character. Mr. Charles was in charge of illegal drills that took place on the Roxxon Discovery. Look, tied to Roxxon, but in this case, because we do hear him make a reference when he does show up in New York. He looks to be having ties to the CIA.
Yes. This is my one nitpicky part about this episode, and it has nothing to do with the show itself. How dare they waste a perfectly good glass of whiskey? I get getting rid of the burner phone, but you could have dropped that thing in some water. That was a perfectly good glass, and that just as an avid whiskey drinker and an avid fan of old fashions, that hurt my soul.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you drink one at that moment to make up for it?
I did. I poured one for myself in memoriam.
Poured one out for your buddy. So then we go back to New York, and Attorney General Sir Rudd and the Lieutenant Governor Gomez are meeting with Fisk. And I could just tell, like, oh, Wilson must love having people above him or think they're above him tell him what to do. They are very concerned about his Safer Streets initiative and the upcoming vigilante trials that we're going to get a little preview of with everyone he's arrested with the Anti-Vigilante Task Force. And that emergency power he's given. Like, they're not happy because, again, they don't feel in charge. They are feeling like this is getting too big for his britches, and they want him to stop it. They're saying, well, you know, I need the governor to do this. Yeah, I don't know if the governor is going to sign off on all this. You need to play by our rules. And so Mr. Charles kind of stumbles in and talking about how he can get like some awesome food cart food. He claims to be from Langley, which is why we're saying right now, you know, he's posing as at least someone from the CIA, or at least ties to the CIA. And the Attorney General gets a phone call. And he says, okay. And he tells Wilson that he can do whatever he wants. He's got our backing. So my guess is he was talking to the governor, but that's at the behest of whatever Mr. Charles has on the governor.
They say who he was talking to.
I must have missed it at that point. I thought it was the governor.
And this is this is what gives credence to that Mr. Charles is working for the CIA, because as the guy is about to get out the phone, he says, "Yes, Miss DeFontaine."
Oh, I missed that. Oh, I totally missed that. Thank
yes.
you. Okay,
so
there we go. Okay, thank
that
you.
was, don't call her Val.
Okay.
Given the call in to say, yeah, no, that the CIA wants him to continue to do what he's doing, which would match what Val was trying to get rid of in Thunderbolts. You know, she had her illegal guns and all her other things that she was trying to hide from everyone. And so for her to be back assisting with Fisk doing illegal activity would not be out the norm.
Okay. I totally had missed that. So thank you. Yeah, that makes that scene even more, because I just thought it was the governor, but I must have just missed that kind of line there. So yeah, so don't call her Val. Don't even think it. At that point, she's pulling her strings along with the new Avengers and everything like that. So then we see Mr. Jack Duquesne, aka the Swordsman, being held at some undisclosed location waiting for his trial, and he's visited by everyone's least favorite ex-girlfriend, Heather Glenn. Sorry, I'm not alone. I know Mr. Snell doesn't care for it. I don't care for Heather Glenn. Nothing against the actress or anything. I just don't care for her character, and you know, I won't be as sad when she meets the end of maybe something that Bullseye fires at her.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of her. I don't see her making it through this season. In the comic books, she has a tragic end. I think that in this, she's going to have, if not the same end that she does in the comics, which I won't spoil in case that does end up happening. I do think there will be a way that she does find an end by the end of this series, because I'm not a fan of her character at all. Just doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah. But she's there to she is there at the behest of Wilson Fisk and the district attorney, and
doing a psych eval,
who claims She claims he is very hostile and delusional and hates authority, and he's like, "No, I'm not hate. I'm not hateful. I'm just, he's hostile against fascists."
Yeah.
You know?
And he's stuck in an underground prison that is very obvious nothing about this is legal. So yeah, he's going to have some questions and question authority. Like when he says, what type of place is this really? Because he also sees, some things on the table and some other aspects of it. He's like, this isn't a traditional prisoner holding cell. And
Yeah.
as we saw at the end of last season, they had them all in cages in some underground bunker. Like nothing about this is a legal prison.
Yeah. But this was the surprising thing. During her questioning, she starts seeing something in the background. She's hallucinating of Muse. And she starts kind of freaking out about it, and she threatens Jack, telling him if he doesn't comply, he will be hurt badly. Ooh. What you gonna do, Heather?
Yeah. Now, I did like the camera shift when she saw Muse. How it gave the tilt and everything like that. The Muse coming back thing again, is another reason why I don't see her character making it through the end of the season, because she's definitely having a mental issue of her own.
Yeah. She hasn't dealt with, I mean, that's just is proof, I don't know, being a psychologist at that point, the trauma that she did go into, she didn't really like she ever dealt with it. David having fun with me, texting me during the show. Again, if she did have some therapy, I don't even know like how many months were removed at this point, but I'd like to think that she has done absolutely nothing to get herself help of what she had to deal with when she was attacked by Muse and kidnapped. And so this is her psyche kind of fighting against itself and showing this. So she's going to be really effective as a psychologist for Wilson Fisk and what he needs her to do.
Yeah, she's definitely got some undealt with trauma going on, and it's going to come back.
Yeah. So we go to someone else is there, and we flash back to Kristen, Matt's legal partner at the firm that they started, and she's trying to help all the people on the task force. It keeps picking up along with Cherry. She's worried about Matt, but Cherry thinks that he'll be fine. Nobody knows where Matt is. Where does he do? Gotta love it when your legal partner drops off the face of the earth. And Cherry's like, oh yeah, he's fine. Oh God, I don't know what we're gonna do about that. And then the district attorney shows up and tries to get Kristen to. Is it Kirsten? I think I keep on saying Kristen. It's Kirsten. Sorry. Kirsten to not fight him in court and just kind of take what happened, take a dive, basically. And she's representing Jack, and he knows her evidence won't matter. Meanwhile, Cherry gets a text from Matt, needing to meet. So, I mean, how would you feel about, you're Kirsten, and you're trying to keep this whole law firm afloat yourself? I'd be kind of, they're concerned about Matt, but it's just like, I got too much to do to wonder where he is, but where is he?
Yeah, and she looked overwhelmed. Like if you look at her desk, she had Advil or what looked like some type of migraine pill. She had crumbs everywhere from obviously eating at her desk, stacks of papers. Like this whole thing is falling apart, and she's just trying to keep her head above water.
Yep, and there's Cherry, knows more than he's letting on, trying to say, oh yeah, he'll be fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah, getting a text from a reservation service in order to meet up with Matt. I did think that was a cool little thing that they did, where confirm your reservation yes or no to say if they could meet. But yeah, Cherry's just over there, feet kicked up, living his best life, like yeah, well, I'll be fine, and she's over here just struggling to keep this thing afloat.
Yeah, you got to. got to play the game, right? And it's at what cost?
Yeah.
But so before we continue on with our breakdown, we're going to take our first ad break for the evening. So listeners, these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. It can be a bit loud. So give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. So after that, the task force then pulls up in front of the Aegean Gardens restaurant, and they are looking for Achillo and Christophe, who were I'm guessing, get captain, and I'm assuming his first mate from the Northern Star, because they want him and they want to take him out before they find someone who will listen and believe them with their story.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting of how much that, one, they survived, but they know it's a leak that they got to plug.
Yeah, and they walk into the restaurant, they ask for the proprietor, like, we know that and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's known that these guys don't have to follow any rules, so they just straight up just slug the proprietor. Like, she takes a solid punch, and at that point,
I say bravo to her for taking that punch and standing your ground on that.
Yeah, she whipped back real quick, but at that point, Achillio realizes he's in trouble, dips out the back, and at that point they're like, okay, we know he is here, and they chase him down, catch him in the alley, and man, this poor man just starts catching hands from these guys who are obviously enjoying this abuse of power.
Yeah. So then we get a BB report that gets hijacked by someone in costume of Mayor Kingpin. And he says BB's Uncle Ben York would be so disappointed in her for working for Fist not to believe these reports. This man also calls Daredevil a dastardly do-gooder. So not necessarily sure if whoever this person is a fan of Daredevil. Not sure about that. I don't know. Who could this person be? Because I don't think this is like the only time we're going to see this hijacking of BB's report.
Yeah, now that this is going to show up again. I found it funny where that footage from earlier, isn't everything great? Isn't Fist doing great? They get another aspect of that report where the balloons are moved out the way and it shows the fuck Fisk in the background and how people really feel about it. Like, so they expose that. And yeah, this was a cool little moment. It's a nod to, I think it was an area in Chicago that got their news station had gotten taken over in this way, and someone had on a costume of the character Max Headroom from the 80s and 90s and did kind of the same thing about the government. So in this instance, someone did it with the BB report and the fake Mayor Kingpin in the white suit. This was good.
Yeah. So we'll see exactly what it is and who this possibly could be. I mean, I don't necessarily have guesses. It would be interesting to see if it was actually BB just posing at it. That could be kind of an interesting twist,
Yeah. This scene will come back up for me in Fact or Fiction later.
Oh, okay. All right. So then BB actually shows up to Daniel Blake's apartment, and he's having a party, and he once again defends Fist, and she warns him to watch out. Inside the home, there's a Godfather poster, which is interesting because he is the son of James Gandolfini, who famously played the lead character in The Sopranos by the mobster. Matt visits the Aegean Garden to tell Ariana that they are on the same page. She recognizes him as Matt Murdock, a man who is supposed to be missing or dead. So he's just trying to find them so that he gets them out of there too, so that they don't wind up dead.
Yeah, he wants to help her find Christophe, and wants to get these men out, and like he's exposing himself because he knows that, all right, she's fighting on an underground level on her own terms. She may not be part of our group, but she's doing good work. We have the same goals, so I can present myself to you.
Yep. We later see that Powell is actually torching Achilleo and trying to find out where Christophe is and has run off to. He doesn't know, and basically kind of in one of those things, Buck straights up, takes out a gun, and blows his brains out, you know?
Yeah.
and just straight kills him. And it was one of those, it was like, he did it. I wasn't ever thinking that Buck wouldn't do it, but I was just more in the sense of I thought he was trying to, it's, when you're trying to find information, he must have just said, like, fine, I don't believe he's going to give us anything at this point. He's going to stand his ground. Well, he's no use to us, and bam, dead.
Yeah, just one straight to the back of the head. Like that. This isn't the Buck of last season going with the syringe and trying to do this quietly. Nope, he's just like, all right, we're done with you.
Yep. So Mr. Charles and so tough to meet with Fisk and Vanessa, and this is a very interesting scene. So he tells Fisk that he needs to be okay with killing everyone who helped unload the boat. And Fisk is like, good men are hard to find. Do we have to do this? And Mr. Charles says, like, yes, we do. I can arrange it so that the men are killed in an industrial accident with no trace past to Fisk or himself. But yeah, those are loose ends that can really hurt us. And we're just, you're going to have to be okay with losing good men.
Yeah. I love the way this scene started for two reasons. One, Mr. Charles asking Fisk goes, so is it okay to talk about business with her in the room? And
yeah, this female here, I don't care much for them.
And Fisk responds back with like, she's privy to my business, I'm privy to hers. And he's like, I don't want to disrespect. And he's like, yeah, you already have. And we've seen how Fisk handles when someone disrespects Vanessa. But this is the one instance where he doesn't do anything, doesn't show anger or anything else as someone has just
crushes someone's
insulted.
Skull.
Yeah, Vanessa. And so I was like, oh, Mr. Charles definitely must have weight, because Wilson just sat there and he was like, no, we're on the same page with business. She can hear everything. There was also two moments in this scene where they really focus on this ring that Mr. Charles is wearing, and they did the same thing in his introduction scene when he's tapping on the glass. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with whatever agency he's really working for.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that too. It's one of those, like, could be work for CIA, but a very, very, even more Black Ops organization, or some kind of tie to an ancient organization dating back to the 14th century,
Yeah.
So, it like you said, it was kind of an interesting kind of dinner table sequences, knowing that it does seem that when it comes to Mr. Charles and Fisk, Mr. Charles seems to be holding the better better hand of cards right now versus Fisk. Fisk seems to be, and that's just a rare position for Wilson Fisk to be in deference to Mr. Charles. So whatever Mr. Charles has over Fisk, or what Fisk is hoping to use Mr. Charles for, is significant enough that he is in deference to him. But we all know how Wilson doesn't like that position to be long term.
Outside of Madame Gao, I've never seen this version of Wilson Fisk play second fiddle to anyone. And even with Madame Gao, it was more of, we're on the same level. Like, I respect you, but we're on the same level. Whereas this one, it feels like Mr. Charles is up here and Fisk is taking orders.
Yeah. So we head to late night, and Karen is meeting her informant. Who is her informant all this time? Because when she picked up the phone back at the beginning and saying, I'm going to call my person, this, that, and the other, and Karen said it was a female, I was like, oh, is this where we're going to get Jessica Jones coming back? Nope, wasn't Jessica Jones. That's still coming. Who is her current informant?
Yeah, so she is working with BB, and they have, a heartfelt talk, and Karen talks about the death of Ben Urich, and she says a line that she says that Ben taught her, even though we never heard this, so it's implied that this was an off camera or out of story conversation um, about manipulating the manipulators. Like they're the easiest people to manipulate, and just trying to encourage her to keep on doing what she's doing. So it leads more to what we saw in season 1, where BB acknowledged that she knows the truth behind who killed her uncle, and not everything she writes is under her name, and she's playing a long game. So we get to now see it more in full force with her actually walking side by side with Karen.
Yeah. So we go back to, Kirsten and, excuse me, not Kirsten. We go back to the DA, and he's calling Heather, and he says that he's read over her report, and based on her report, says Jack doesn't appear to be a sociopath, and that's going to make it very difficult to get a conviction. So during this time, she also sees Muse again, so she's anxious and she's kind of losing touch with reality even more, and then says that she may have entered the data wrong. She'll look at it again and resubmit it, and she's basically changing the answers so that he appears like a sociopath, so she can get the DA off her back, therefore Fisk off her back. She feels afraid. She doesn't necessarily trust this whole thing, but she also doesn't want to, bite the mouth that's feeding her per se and end up dead. But it's very telling.
Yeah, you could tell that she's afraid. You could tell that she doesn't want to do this, but also, she pours herself a drink or two to calm her shakes and her PTSD before erasing what she had put, and then putting another one. Now I will say she erased this, but it's in pencil and she didn't erase it well. The mark is still semi-visible, but I'm guessing that in this corrupt society, no one's really going to be paying that much attention to that.
Yeah. And so we head back to Matt and Karen back in their apartment at Josie's. Matt's training Karen as when she asked, does he miss being Matt Murdock and being with Foggy? And he says, sometimes. Liar. All the time.
Yeah.
Matt mentions years of learning under his ruthless sensei. He's referring to Stick. And this is something that, we've talked about before on the show, in a sense of the necessity of having an alternate identity, having that life outside of being the vigilante. Being the vigilante all the time, and this is not Daredevil in the comics. Daredevil's done this a bunch of times, and it's never really worked. Not at all. Like we pointed it out last week with Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. Like Peter's looking real rough because there is no Peter Parker. I'm not talking about the spell. I'm talking about like he has devoted any life is Spider-Man focused. Matt doesn't have a life, and so he's really thrown himself into Daredevil. That's not a good combination,
Yeah, he's going down a darker, more violent path whenever he sets aside being Matt and focuses straight up on being Daredevil. And we're starting to see that as well in the opening fight scene, and I feel like we're going to see that more so as we go through this. I mean, we saw the scene in the trailer where he takes a hit and he turns around and he has that grimacing smile like he's just enjoying this. So yeah, he needs Matt. He needs that version of him to stay grounded.
Yeah. But we do see the task force eventually heads to Cherry's apartment and takes him, ties him up, starts basically torturing him, and he warns Matt before they break through. Daredevil shows up, kicks some serious butt all around. He saves Cherry, but in the process, he senses that Cherry's having a heart attack and getting ready to have a heart attack, starts having a heart attack. Well, that distracts Matt to the point where the reinforcements that come in are able to subdue him and also unmask him. He just looked kind of just like really screwed up in that moment. Like he fought and then just kind of let it happen. But at that moment, that one of the lead agents realized, oh my God, it's Matt Murdock. He was but put a bullet in his head. A sniper rings out and takes down everyone in that room that was AVTF, and then a knife comes hurtling through, bounces off a few things, lands right in front of Matt with the words "You're welcome" and a bullseye carved into it. So bullseye saved Matt from not only getting killed but from his secret getting outed. I don't know about Cherry. I don't know. Is Cherry dead? Do we? I don't know. I'm assuming maybe.
I think right now Cherry is still alive, but I think this whole fear of the heart attack thing is going to be a recurrent thing. And I got the feeling as Cherry was having the heart attack and hearing the heartbeat slowly go away gave him the same sense that he had when he was listening to Foggy die out on the streets. And now he's watching one friend die. He's thinking about another one. He loses all focus. And then just the man who was given hands is now taking them. And I thought it was a cool moment when they unmasked, actually got the mask off and was like, oh, it's Matt Murdock. And then you hear one bullet come in, which takes out two different guys straight through the eye. Like, this is some precision. Then another one everyone just single bullet drops to the head, like clean precision shots. And then you hear the ricocheting sound before the knife just lands in the floor right in front of Matt that says, "You're welcome."
Yeah. Now, there are rumors that this is going to be, Bullseye's going to go through a redemption story. I don't know how I feel about that because I don't know what kind of pathway they're going to go down when they say the word redemption. Now, we know he is very upset and angry that he felt used by Vanessa when she hired him to take down Foggy, which is why he was trying to go after and kill them last season when Matt took the bullet for Fisk. In the sense of Bullseye doing a redemption, I could see them teaming up, being uneasy partners because the enemy of my friend in order for them to take down Fisk. I could also see that Poindexter is so insane that he's going to be like, oh yeah, no, we're kindred spirits. We can we can work together, and we're like-minded. Like I got this, and just realize eventually that Matt's never gonna see his point of view, and then they'll have an eventual fight and take him down. But I just don't think we're gonna get at the end of the season Bullseye being an anti-hero. I don't know how that would sit with me, but I'm going to have to see how this plays out. But I just don't feel this is like your typical redemption story where he's going to go from villain to hero, let alone anti-hero. Because I don't think Bullseye has ever in the history of comics been looked at anything more than a sadistic, sociopathic killer that you just don't trust.
Yeah, I don't see a redemption story. If anything, I see we are walking a similar path to bring this guy down. But it's not going to be the redemption. I think it will be closer to the scene with Matt and Frank last season, where it was like, don't kill, trying to constantly stop him from killing, but it's going to be that magnified. Like, because this guy has no moral compass, whereas Frank is like, I want to kill these guys, but I will slow up a little bit, while this guy's like, nah, the minute you look the other direction, I'm killing somebody.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see where it is, and if we're going to get an interaction with them next week. But so next week, it'll be 2 episodes. So second episode 2 and episode 3. So we'll see if those that have seen the full season. I also have a friend of mine that has seen everything with Daredevil and still sings its praises, that we're in for a real treat. But we will see how releasing episode 2 and 3 line up with each other, because it's not just, there's got to be a reason that the two tie in together, that they're better to be seen together versus waiting week to week.
Yeah.
So, but all right, before we get into the news, let us take our next ad break for the evening. So, listeners, we use these ads to help us keep the lights on in the Geek Ultimate Alliance. We don't want to. We don't know what they're gonna play for you, and it can be a bit loud. So, give that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so we got 2 stories. One is Daredevil related, but we're going to say that towards the end because, in my opinion, file this under, I did not see this coming at all, despite all the positive reviews, despite our reviews, despite everyone saying we really enjoyed this, but, based on how Disney dropped it, based on how they did some promotion of it, but not to the extent of this. But I did not meet one person who saw this show and said, you know what? That was awful. No. I just didn't see that happen. I said when it came to Wonder Man, I was not looking forward to it. I was not taking the point of who asked for this, because I really try not to do something like that. But I was just not high up in it, and the way they were going to dump this show, I was like, yep, it's another show, minority-led show, where they're going to dump it and then forget about it. Well, surprise, miracles never cease to exist. Wonder Man has been renewed for season 2 with Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Ben Kingsley slated to return. And when I talk about promotion, we also got the Twitter account, the official Marvel Twitter account, posting 2 scripts, one with Yahya on it, and one with Ben Kingsley's name on it. That is very impressive. It's not just from trade. This is official from Marvel Studios. This is coming from, I believe, The Hollywood Reporter, reporting this, saying Marvel Television's Wonder Man, perhaps the least comic book movie coded of the Superhero Factory shows, has been renewed for a second season, and the key creative talent are all set to return. Also returning is co-creator Destin Daniel Cretton, filmmaker who previously worked on Marvel's Shang-Chi and Legend of Ten Rings, and is directing July Spider-Man Brand New Day. Andrew Guest as well. Cretton is coming back as director and executive producer, while Guest is reprising his role as showrunner and executive producer. Eschewing superheroics and building destroying affairs, Wonder Man focused on the struggling actor Simon Williams, who met up with Trevor Slattery. And in the show, essentially, as they call it, Buddy Hollywood Romp, premiered on Disney Plus in January to exceptional reviews. It currently sits at 91% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and 87% audience score. So very high. I think one of the highest rated shows for the MCU Disney Plus era. In its first week, Wonder Man wrapped up 618 million minutes of watch time, according to Nielsen, and landed in the metric of tracking the service's top 10 streaming series. So they're looking to capitalize on the positive response to this. They did not give a date of when they're looking to go into production. I don't even know where their script things are. They must have some sort of either treatment or script to start being greenlighted. This is rare to get a second season in the MCU on Disney Plus. Only 2 other live-action shows have seen a follow-up, including Loki, which remains the Marvel's top show, and Daredevil Born Again. So everything else, WandaVision, the first show, also won an Emmy as part of its informal trilogy, which includes Agatha and Vision Quest, but these are proper sequels. I'm telling you, David, again, this did not enter into my this is ever happening, let alone 2 months after it premiered, we get a season 2 of it. We usually, it'll be 6 months, maybe within a year you might get it, but we've just assumed in the Disney Plus era that second seasons just aren't in their bag. And of all the shows to get a second season, Wonder Man, I am so happy for this casting crew. Wow, good for them.
I am ecstatic. I am ecstatic for multiple reasons. Number one, it was a great show. I loved it. It was fun. It's great. It was different. That's number one. The show itself is great.
It had heart.
Yes. Number two, I like Andrew Guest. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorite comedic shows. Community is top up there with how they handled an ensemble cast. So having him in a director spot, knowing that all of these moving pieces will be great. That's number two. I'm excited for that. Number three, and my biggest is, unfortunately, minority-led projects have not received, in my opinion, fair treatment when it comes to their rollout, their marketing, and everything else compared to some other titles. So to see one that really didn't have that much marketing to it, they kind of ramped up the week of, but leading into it did not have that much marketing, got the we're just going to drop it treatment and everything else, to see it surpass all these expectations and be the one that gets the greenlit. Like, Loki was a known name. People came in loving Tom Hiddleston, loving that character, wanting to see more. This was
we
not
knew
a
it, and
known
we
name.
knew at the end of that was the post credits is the season 2. So we knew, like, we didn't have to wait anything. That was a surprise, like, immediately greenlit season 2.
Yeah, so to have this reach that pinnacle, just it fills my minority nerd blurred heart with joy.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that last point. I agree with you fully on this, that Disney and the MCU have not given proper due course with minority-led shows, and I'm so happy that this one has gotten it. Of all the ones that we hoped and said, why aren't we getting this? Why aren't we getting more of this? This is the one that finally gets it. I mean, again, we said weeks ago, it's like we're still waiting on the 10 Rings returning in their own show. Like, how long ago did we hear about, like, there was going to be a whole 10 Ring show with the follow-up with Shang-Chi's sister? Like, that I don't even know if that's still a thing. So again, I said it with you. This show had so much heart. I was so happy, and I said it to our friend of the show, Phil, that when he shared the news with me, I'd seen it earlier, but I reiterate, and I'll continue saying it. I was so happy to eat my words on this show. Absolutely so happy, because I wasn't rooting for the show to fail. Why would I do that? Like, I can say and be completely comfortable with saying, like, I wasn't looking forward to it because it just wasn't striking me initially at it, especially with what they were doing. I think they're just going to dump it. The quality is not going to be there, and it's going to further damage a brand. But I was so happy to be wrong. I'm so happy to get more of this thing. Again, when people say, do I have to watch Murder Man? You don't have to watch anything. You don't have to watch anything. You can choose what you want. But if you want something that you just want to break from the superhero genre, but just have a little taste of it and just kind of be kind of tongue-in-cheek with two characters, one as that somehow has continued to have a life in the MCU and Trevor Slattery, and a character that you don't need to know anything about, that barely most people outside of really hardcore geeks know a lot about Wonder Man. Like, this is going to be interesting because now we've gone past the origin and he's accepted his role as and his power set. What is going to happen next for Wonder Man? I'm excited just to see what's next because I don't know. Wonder Man is a blind spot for me. I know enough to be dangerous with it, but I don't need it to be comic book accurate. I just want to continue seeing these two characters, this buddy cop. They had such great chemistry. I'm so happy to do it. This cast and crew, congratulations. You've got two fans right here that cannot wait to see what adventures bestow Simon and Trevor next.
Yeah, I can't say how much I'm excited for this. And the way that they took this season, you used the character of Wonder Man, but you did it so different than anything we've read in the comics before. So they can go anywhere with this next season. I also think it's fun. The fact that Ben Kingsley's character, Trevor, went from, oh my God, how could you do this to the Mandarin, who's this bumbling idiot, to, oh my God, we love this bumbling idiot.
And it's just a matter of, like, you can have the bumbling idiot character, but it only goes so far before it becomes like, oh god, this guy's annoying. Like
Yeah.
he had a role, he had a character arc in this. And
So
Bear
much
Slayer,
heart, especially at the end of the series. Just so much heart.
yeah. And Bear Slayer says it like I'm right there with you. Wasn't expecting Wonder Man to be so good, but love the chemistry between the two actors. So all we know it's real. As we said, the official Marvel Entertainment account tweeted it out as well, so you know it actually is not just a scooper madness. This actually is a thing. So no known date or anything like that. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm guessing at least a year plus before we see them back, but I'm sure they're fast tracking this to try to capitalize on it. I do not foresee us. I'd be very surprised if we get this before Secret Wars. I want them to do well by this. I want them to do, but I'm having a hard time seeing them get this into production, and it risk ruining what that lightning in a bottle that they have right now. I want them to do well by them, want to do well by the character, but again, I understand that they want to capitalize on, but please don't screw this up. But I think with our key players, Destin's still at the helm, shepherding this along with his partner there, our showrunner. I think we're in good hands, but don't screw this up, Marvel. Please. Do well by this. All right. And then last one, quick hit. This kind of came out with, us in the GUA chat. We were saying, do we know, is Tuesday's mornings coming? It was like, do we know how many episodes we're getting tonight? Because this is kind of like, we usually hear at least a day or two before, but it didn't come down until the day of. We found out officially we were going to be just getting one episode of Daredevil Born Again Season 2 on Tuesday, and then the following week, 2 episodes, because there was a reason for that, because they started dropping news about the Punisher special presentation. There's no source for this. It kind of came out through Marvel, and trade just basically picked it up. So the title of the special presentation is Punisher One Last Kill. It officially releases May 12th on Disney+. This is a week after the season finale of Born Again Season 2. So that is why we are getting 2 episodes next week, because if they were to do episode week by week, we would get the season finale on the same day that Punisher One Last Kill was going to do. That's stupid. They don't need to be doing that. They don't need to be torpedoing and dividing up the numbers. So they'll let Born Again finish out, give it its own time, and then give One Last Kill its point. So the synopsis, get ready for this, David. This is going to knock your socks off, this synopsis. Ready? As Frank Castle searches for meaning beyond revenge, an unexpected force pulls him back into the fight. All right, that's every Punisher story known to man at this point. So there's not a lot to chew on with that. So we do know that Don Bernthal has co-wrote this special alongside Ronaldo Marcus Green, who also directed. Before we kind of break down some of the rumors that we know that this is filmed in the can, here is the official first poster for the Punisher One Last Kill. Frank looking like Frank does. And you see off to the side, someone's done a mock-up of the pit next to it. So there's that. So what we do know, the possibility of what we've seen on footage is that if you don't want to hear about anything, we'll talk about it for like 10, 15 seconds, and then we'll kind of be coded about it. 3, 2, 1 spoilers. Leaked images show that Castle is standing across from a dark-haired woman in a wheelchair. We have talked about this run on this show. That strikes me as someone by the character name of Ma Nucci, a mafia boss that has some very interesting things to do with Frank.
Which if this is the case, I'm so excited for, because Garth Ennis's run on the Punisher, the Marvel Knights version of the Punisher, man, I loved everything about that. And I mean, I love the characters that were in there, the Nucci crime family. That's our first introduction of like so many great characters with that. And Yes, we get the Russian in that story.
Yes.
So like I like that. So and there if depending on how close they go with it, we could be getting another Central Park shootout.
Yeah. Um, yeah, they didn't want to give away too much with the synopsis. It's like every other Punisher thing. It's just like, man, I hope it's not another one where he's found someone else that's decided to, like, tied to his family's death, and he goes after him. Um, I'm excited for it just because, again, John Bernthal loves this character, has very protective of the character. I like that he's co-written it. Um, so it's going to be rated R, very rated R from what we understand. Because when we get to Spider-Man Brand New Day, it's like a PG-13 version, which again, I'm fine with a PG-13 version of the Punisher. That's fine. I don't think he's going to be like, oh, one last kill, and then he's just going to be like shooting up, high-powered beam bags and nerfing the character. No, I don't think it's that. It's just we're just not going to see as more graphic kills. But
I
what
was
I
trying to explain it to a friend of mine who is also an avid wrestling fan. So back in around 2012, 2013, WWE started running this Saturday show that was very much geared for kids. And what they would do is any move that really accentuated neck movements, they would cut away, wide shot. Like the person would go to hit the move and you would never see the impact because they would cut to a crowd reaction or something like that. So the way I explained to him, like, that's probably what you're going to see. The moves will still be there, the character will still be there, but the impact will be lessened because they will find camera trickery to just hide that part that they don't want the impressionable to see, because they also asked, they're like, well, if it's PG-13, they can still use one F-bomb. I'm like, they're not, it's Spider-Man. They want to present to everyone. They're not going to use that here. But just foresee him still being frank, but them just using editing and camera tricks to lessen the impact of him being full frank.
Yeah, I mean, he's still wearing the symbol, everything like that. What I'm kind of tired of, at least in the Disney Plus era with Punisher, is that, all right, we go from season 1 to season 2. All right, he's on his own. He's lost again, and thing. Oh, gets called back again. Then we get to Born Again. Then we get to Born Again season 1, and what's going on with Frank? He's lost. He doesn't know what to do. He's underground. Oh, he gets called back into action. Here we go again. And now we assume that he's escaped the Kingpin's capturing of him somehow. He's lost, doesn't know what to do. Oh, one last kill. This trope needs to die for a bit. There is more to deal with Punisher than just every time we get a new arc, oh, he's on his own. It's like, stop. Like, literally. There are so many more collections than just this. I'm still waiting for Volume 2. Hopefully we get that. We have the Jason Aaron run with this. We have continuing on with Ennis run with Steve Dillon on it. We've got Rick Remender's run with Frankencastle. Yes, I actually like that run because it's so freaking weird and out there that, yes, Frankencastle all the way, because that was fun.
Yeah.
But there's so much more you can do than just the simple thing. That's why Punisher, to me, is not someone I look up to as a character. It's a study of someone that knows exactly who they are and has actively told people, no, especially the cops, we know their favorite scene, like, no, you don't want to be like me. I don't want you to be like me. You do what's right. Like, I'm not Captain America. Like, I don't see that thing, and I would love to see him as the whole War Machine arc. That's another cool storyline too. But he's very self-aware. He knows what he knows, and he does what he does. But it is more than just I'm going to kill everything that's bad and stop me. That's the wrong understanding of the character. I'm not trying to celebrate the character, but there's more to the Punisher character as a fictional character. That there's more depth to this character than just running and gunning.
Yeah.
That's why he has existed so long. Because if all he was with that character, that they wouldn't have volumes after volumes after volumes of this character, you know?
Yeah, he is a lot more nuanced than the guy who just can't stop being a killer vigilante.
Yeah. And again, I will say it, and I'm not alone in this, that John Bernthal is my favorite Punisher version. My next one, Thomas Jane. You know,
Absolutely.
I have no regrets of saying that, and if you say I'm crazy, I say that's fine. It's just my opinion, but there's not a lot of versions of it. But John Bernthal embodies that character to me, and when I read Punisher, no matter what era of it, I hear John Bernthal and I see John Bernthal in what I read and what I hear, because he has done it and he deserves to be very protective of this character. So I'm excited. May 12th again. 8 straight weeks of content we got coming at you, and what a great way to kind of end our Daredevil kind of going into. We got May, we got break. We don't know we really don't know what else is coming out Disney Plus wise after the Punisher special, because we do know that X-Men 97 is scheduled to release sometime. Season 2 scheduled sometime this year. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2 scheduled to release sometime this year. Vision Quest is scheduled to be sometime this year. So we have 3 other Disney Plus shows that are hanging out there.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see how they kind of spread those out.
I'm super excited. And to quickly touch back on what you just said, I'm right there with you on John Bernthal, followed by Thomas Jane. I still enjoy the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, as campy as John Travolta can be in that. And if you want another look at Thomas Jane, then go on YouTube and look up The Punisher Dirty Laundry. It was a short film that was made with him reprising the character, and it's a lot more gritty, but it's so good. But yeah, he was a great version, but the John Bernthal, he just embodies it. He wants to embody it, and he wants to give that character everything that he can, and I think he is absolutely killing it in that role.
Yep. So, but all right, so 2 decent news stories, a whole episode breakdown. Man, this is back to our heydays of when Marvel kept on feeding us well. So but yeah, so that's all the news that's fit to talk about this week. So we're gonna take our final ad break for the evening before we get into listener feedback, Factor Fictions, and the return of Comic Book Club after a couple of weeks when both David and I were kind of respectively off at that point. I always like calling out Bears Lair. He's our very dedicated, at least I know there's more of y'all that do Comic Book Club with us. Brent, I know, is one of them, but Bears Lair, I always thank you. I always try to give you a heads up if for some reason we're not doing it that week, because he always is very diligent about doing his homework. So last ad break. So as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. They can be a bit loud. Give it that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. So 2 questions coming at us this week. What do we got?
Yeah, so first up is from Anthony Dorsey. It says, why is Daredevil the best Marvel character? And he answered for himself and said,
full disclosure, I responded to him saying, well, I that is subjective. So I put it to you to say you need to answer first, and then David and I will answer. So why did he say this?
So his reply is that he is a pure good but deeply flawed hero, and the peak of get knocked down but always get back up type character. And the incorporation of Catholicism into his character really sets him apart from a lot of other superheroes that aren't really religious.
All right. So do you agree? I'm going to take this as do you agree or disagree at that one, because I'm not going to force you to say if you honestly do believe Daredevil is the best character. I am not going to stop you. There's nothing wrong with that. It is a very subjective take at that point. David, do you feel that Daredevil is the best Marvel character?
I feel that he's a great Marvel character, but nowhere near the best, and I have my reasons.
All right, go for it. Go.
Number one, as Anthony Dorsey states, he's a pure good but deeply flawed hero. He's a man whore. He's a straight up uses and abuses women left and right, and sometimes uses his faith as a tool in order to mask the things that he has done to people, against people, and how he has used people. You know, he will play the Catholic guilt card really, really quickly. Do I think that he has a strong moral compass? Absolutely. Do I think that he will do whatever it takes for his city, for Hell's Kitchen? Absolutely. But I also think that he makes some decisions that are just like, what the hell are you doing, and who is this in service of other than you and sometimes your own ego?
Yeah, I will say, as I've always said, my moniker on the show is the man without fear. Daredevil is one of my favorite characters. There's a difference between favorite and who I consider the best. But again, both of them are subjective because of what you enjoy. Like, I was literally having a conversation today with JP from Panelbound Comics about Fantastic Four, and I've never made allusion to that. Fantastic Four, I have nothing against them. They're just not my team. I stay enough up to date on them. I'm actually reading the new series right now. It's actually pretty good and decent, but it's not a series that I gravitate towards or a team I gravitate towards. But Daredevil is one of my favorite characters. In my subjective opinion, I don't think that they're the best in what represents kind of a representative of Marvel Comics. All the heroes are flawed. Every hero is flawed in this. There's no, and I'm fine with a hero proof. I don't want a perfect hero. That's not the even Superman on this. Superman is deeply flawed too. If I were to pick a character who I consider the best in the embodiment of the Marvel universe, as it were, Captain America. And it's more the complexities of what that character has had to evolve to. I say the character. I'm saying Captain America as a character. Steve, Sam, Bucky. The idea of that character is what I consider to be one of the best characters for Marvel. And how much that character has had to evolve and grow, and the mantle being passed down in different ways that they hold that mantle and carry that mantle is very impressive. Again, that is my subjective opinion. But I think, because, again, I have to separate favor from what I consider best, but I think the best one is the complexities of who Captain America is throughout the years, represents the times that we are. And I'm not saying other characters don't do that, but I think Captain America does that one of the ones that have stood the true test of time over and over and over again. There is no Marvel universe without Captain America.
I could definitely see and appreciate that argument, and that one is definitely a harder one to argue against.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to. And again, Anthony, I'm not saying you're wrong. And again, as I tongue in cheek said, that was subjective. You're not wrong. Just like David, you're not wrong to call out who you chose. But that's what makes these debates fun. We all respect each other's opinion, and it's not about I'm right, you're wrong. It's about like, oh, I can see your point. I can see all our point of views at that point. That's the wonderful thing about fandom. When it's not toxic, we respect each other's view and can say like, hey, I kind of see that. I get your point, but here's why I think what I think. So,
yeah, I mean, and again, you can have your favorite characters for whatever reason that they're your favorite characters. My favorite Marvel and my favorite DC characters are both horrible human beings, but I love them as characters.
Yeah, Wolverine, horrible human being at this point. I love Wolverine, but I love Punisher, but yes, horrible people, horrible. I don't know if I want to hang out with them.
I am admittedly, anyone who's listened to the show for a while knows this. I'm a huge fan of Cyclops, but he is a horrible human being. On the DC side, my favorite hero is the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, but he is a horrible human being. And I'm
He's a
not just
jerk.
talking about the Parallax run. I mean, he's made some questionable decisions, including somebody that he dated that he really should not have. Like
Batman is nuts.
there are, but they can be your favorite character for the reasons that they are your favorite character. I gravitate hugely towards Spider-Man, but I also understand that he is also deeply flawed and sometimes makes some irrational decisions.
And sometimes, to be fair, and I use Spider-Man as an example, you bring it up, another conversation I had was sometimes you love characters, but like sometimes run after run after run is just, in your humble opinion, my humble opinion, has not been good and has not given you the love of the character that you used to have. For me, that's Spider-Man right now.
Yeah,
I have not had a
It's been a
great
while
run
since
of-
Spider-Man has really resonated with me the way that I wish. I continue to go to the stories, I continue to try and read, but it has not resonated with me.
And again, if you've loved the recent runs with Zeb and Joe Kelly returning into it, and even before that, Nick Spencer, great. I've liked a lot of different aspects of Nick Spencer's run, but it was, in my opinion, it was touch and go. The last time I really enjoyed Spider-Man was, you know, I did enjoy a lot of parts of Brand New Day, despite how it came about. The Dan Slott run was, if I have to point something out, Dan Slott's run was probably the last time I really enjoyed Spider-Man through and through. Just had in the most consistent way. Runs can do that, and saying like, yeah, it's kind of hurt it, but it doesn't mean like I can't go back and remember those things. I got them all behind me. I've got Marvel Unlimited. But that can also affect how you view. That's why. But yeah, I didn't think we'd spend that long time to coach him. But thank you for that. Thank you for that raising that question there, Anthony. So I know we got one more. This one came in like just at the about 30-40 minutes before we went live.
Yeah. From Jim Scruggs, the AVTF, the Anti-Vigilante Task Force, doubling down on the Punisher logo only means that Frank will go full, if not rage-filled Punisher. Could that be for the special?
Yeah, I mean they've been, Charlie Cox and others have said that Punisher is not going to be in this season. And maybe a reference or two at that point. We did see footage of Matt going through the cages and things like that, but obviously Frank's probably not going to be there. But yeah, I could see Frank going rageful at that point and doing it. What do you think?
I definitely could see that. I did notice that the new style of the task force vest looked very much, not just having the Punisher logo up in the corner, but just the style of the vest looked like the skull, but just all black. And I could very much see him having taken offense to this and really raging out. I mean, again, this special is written partially by John Bernthal. He knows how the creators and writers of the Punisher feel about police and other people co-opting the logo and things like that. So I feel like that is definitely something that they could work in there.
Yeah. Bear in the chat saying thank you for the chat. Truly enjoy reading along with you guys and the updates. And he also chimed in about the Daredevil discussion, saying, I have to say, I was wrong about Daredevil. Growing up, I was down on him. What's so good about a blind guy who has radar? Read first Omni last year and immediately ate those words. Yeah, again, sometimes you just have to give it and hit the right run. So, and sometimes you have bad runs and just say, I don't see the fight. And then you find that key run and says like, yep, I get it now. So again, creative teams matter. They can can make a character thrive and outright kill a character. So,
yeah.
But all right, thank you all for the questions. So let's head into Fact or Fiction. So Mr. Hines, so David, we're gonna have to let you kind of answer these as well. So when Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out, Daredevil will join Spider-Man to fight the Hand in the scene from the trailer end shot. So will Daredevil in? So 67% fact, 33% fiction.
I am a fact on that one. I was over analyzing that scene from the moment I saw that trailer, looking at people's line of sight and everything else. I'm like, all right, this is giving me flashbacks to No Way Home with the missing set pieces. So I definitely was like, there's going to be someone else there. And if you're fighting the Hand, then I mean, you got to have some Daredevil action in there.
Part of me wants it nothing to be there and to see like the internet's like, oh, why'd you do this to us? Number 2, Captain America will appear in season 2 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. 71% in fact, 29% in fiction. What say you, David?
I went back and forth when I first heard this, and then when the poll actually went up, I've gone back and forth. I'm going to say fact that he will be there. He was shown in picture form in season 1. I think that we will get a cameo in season 2, a la how we got Daredevil in a cameo in season 1.
Yeah. And last one, Spider-Man Brand New Day will make at least $1 billion at the box office. This is, we get a lot of back and forth. This one, not so close. 96% said fact, 4% said fiction.
Again, when I first heard it, I was like, in today's day and age, it's really hard to break $1 billion. And then I saw how well the trailer did, and I go, they could break $1 billion. So I'm going to go fact on this.
Yeah, it's I had my predictions this year saying only one is gonna have $1 billion. I didn't say one. I didn't say which one. I wasn't gonna go that like really tie myself up. I said one just because of the age we're living in.
Yeah.
Based on like how much that is, I mean, again, I'd love it if it has two. That'd be nice having two big hits for Marvel at that point. But Spider-Man, it could outshine Doomsday, especially with both Dune and Doomsday still released on the same day. I don't think either one of them are leaving. I think we're really gonna have this, despite my surprise that that's gonna be a thing. That could hurt it. It could very much hurt it. So we'll have to see.
I think that the thing with Spider-Man as opposed to Doomsday is Spider-Man is, in my opinion, a more universally loved character and franchise that also doesn't feed into the Marvel fatigue thought process. When I see something like Doomsday, a lot of general audiences like, I will catch that on Disney Plus. I'm Marvel fatigued out with these big epic set pieces and all this other thing. But Spider-Man, it's like, man, I know that guy. I love that guy. We love Tom Holland. Yeah, I'll go see that one. That's going to be fun, as opposed to the big spectacle that is an Avengers movie.
Yeah. So, but all right. So your factor fictions.
All right. Factor fiction number 1. BB is the one behind the anti-Fisk videos in Daredevil Born Again.
Well, sorry for taking your team on that one.
I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I'm claiming it now. She is the one.
Yeah, I'm saying that. It's her finding a way to kind of subvert it. But yeah, I'm a fact on that.
All right. Yeah, I feel like that she's playing both sides. I mean, how else did she get such clear footage of the poster in the background that they were trying to hide with the balloons? Like, unless you were there or had access to the back end tapes, like how else do you get this unless BB is playing both sides?
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, Claire will return as the night nurse. Karen mentioned, are you going to go to Metro General to get patched up? And that gave me callbacks to, our favorite hero helper.
Yeah. Heart wants it. Love Rosario Dawson, but I think that's a side character. I don't think it's going to be returning, or it's going to be recast. But I don't see them pining for a night nurse right now.
I've gone back and forth on if she will be seen again or just mentioned. But I want to at least have a cameo moment with her. Like, doesn't have to be full on in the season recurring character like she has been in previous Marvel properties, but just having that bring back, I think would be cool.
All right, and your last one.
My last one is a bit of low hanging fruit thanks to Spider Man, but Kingpin will no longer be mayor by the end of this season.
That is low hanging fruit. I think that, I mean, not opposed to it. I've done it before too, and we're trying to find something at this point. Yeah, I don't think that Mr. Mayor Fisk is long for the world. Well, we do know, and they were upfront about this, that the Mayor Fisk storyline will come to an end. Will conclude at the end of the season. They didn't say what to mean by that. They just said the storyline of it will conclude. Will he be mayor? Will he be indicted? Will he be killed? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I agree. It's he is not being the mayor anymore.
Yeah, I feel like he will be around in some capacity, but yeah, the mayorship is out.
Yep. So, all right, I will put those out there on Sunday afternoon. Let your voices be heard, and let us go back to Comic Book Club, Age of Ultron, Book 3. What'd you think about this issue?
I thought that it it was more of a storyline advancement issue, like not a lot of action, but its ending was very, and I remember thinking at the time, like it caught me off guard what the ending to this issue was and made me go, okay, well, there wasn't much in the issue itself, but man, this ending has me really excited for the next one.
Yeah, I mean, basically what it comes down to, I don't think we're going to spend too much time tonight breaking it down, just because there's a lot of talk, a lot of exposition of the heroes trying to decide and realize that, hey, maybe we can give something to Ultron to not necessarily get protection, but to get close and maybe take him out. Um, because Peter had said like what Owl was trying to do and auction him off to Ultron for protection. Um, and what it comes down to is Luke Cage and She-Hulk kind of saying, okay, well, it's gonna be one of us. We're strong, this, that, and the other, and it ends up because you see it in the beginning, they're out there and they're bickering like who's gonna be the person. Well, it ends up being Luke knocking out She-Hulk and using her. And as they come forward, they're walking through it. But we get an interesting flash to somewhere else with Red Hulk, Taskmaster, and Black Panther. What's going on there?
Yeah, they're in a moment of trying to locate and isolate one of the Ultron bots. And so this is not the threesome team up that you would expect working together. And I did think it was funny with a little bit of their bickering. I have to go back and look on the exact page, but Taskmaster like refuses to call Red Hulk, so he just gives him a random generic name, and Black Panther's just sitting there like I'm just with you guys because the world is ended. Like I'm just here. But yeah, they are trying to isolate, and they think that they've got it. They jump down, they rip the head off of one, and they're like, yes, we've got a piece of this Ultron that we can try and, figure out what's going on. And then after that, they are surrounded by more Ultron bots and just get everyone is taken out. Red Hulk's taken out. Black Panther ends up getting taken out by an explosion, and some rubble falls on him, and we see Taskmaster running away with the Ultron head. So we'll see where their storyline advances. But yeah, that was a threesome that I was not expecting to be that team up.
Yeah, and so we end it with Ultron's escorting Luke Cage, carrying She-Hulk to meet the Maker at that point, and as he
That's not
approaches,
Ultron.
and he said, "That's not Ultron." Luke Cage, what do you have to offer? It is Vision, like half of Vision, like the upper torso of Vision at that point. So, again, Ultron was based on the idea of Vision. Um, it's Vision's child, as it were. But yeah, we'll just have to see exactly kind of how that goes down next week. Yeah, this was an okay. This was so-so-ish for me. It was like more of just like a repeat or continuation of issue 2, but didn't really move it and push it along as much as I would like to. But I do know, hopefully, it starts picking up soon. So, but yeah, so we will look at issue 4 next week. So big chunky episode for you all this week, extra long with news and breakdown. So I'll say this: unless something major news-wise breaks next week, we're pretty much with 2 episodes of Daredevil. That's probably what we're just going to be. The show's going to be mainly about. We'll still do listener question, factor fictions, and comic book club. But if news doesn't rise to major stuff at that point, we'll table it for a week where the following weeks where we have just one episode to break down, because it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Two full episodes plus a bunch of news, and then everything else. It does add up.
Yeah. So, but hope you all enjoyed it. And David, tell people how they can follow you and plug your shows.
You can follow me on all socials at The Phantom. You can follow me here on the GeekVerse network as part of our wrestling show, The Gimmick, with Mr. Travis Snell and S Bubs. We come to you after all major wrestling shows, and once a month we have a My GM Mode stream for WWE 2K26. We just started the new year. It's been fun so far. It's going to be the way that they've restructured it this year. We're going to get like a lot more bang for our buck with that. So I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about some upcoming wrestling pay-per-views, as we're 3 weeks away from the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. So I'm excited for that and what's to come out of Fallout.
Yep. So, yep, you can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. You can catch me on the Brave and the Boys channel with Jake every month, looking at the new solicits that are coming out. Actually, in 2 weeks, we're getting ready to record DC's about to, not this coming week, but the following week, their full catalog for the rest of the year is supposed to come out with their newest collected edition. So Jake and I are going to be breaking that down very shortly after. Not live, but recorded and dropped soon after. So be on the lookout for that. You can follow us on Twitter at Marvel A Podcast. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to tweet, email if you want to provide feedback, ask questions, fact or fictions. DMs are open across the board. Continue to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us live in the chat. Stay safe. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David, post-credits discussion. What you got?
All right, so over on the good Twitter/X this week, Eric Davis stated in a tweet, "I get a feeling this Marvel stretch we're about to start today, Daredevil Born Again Season 2, into Punisher, into Spider-Man Brand New Day, into Avengers Doomsday, might be the best stretch of MCU we've seen in a minute, maybe since 2016, 2017, Civil War through Ragnarok."
All right, so list out all those shows so we kind of have the full understanding of what that was.
All right, so let me go back to
So still
that
pre
area.
Disney Plus era, so we don't have MCU shows. This is just straight movies.
Yep. Should have had this up, and of course now, once this, there we go. All right, so we're going Civil War through Ragnarok. So we had Civil War, we had Black Panther, we had Spider-Man Homecoming, Doctor Strange. Again, I'm not counting the Netflix run of shows that were going on
Yeah.
at this time, but because at the time we thought they were separate, so I'm not counting them right now. But yeah, so we had, like I said, Civil War, Black Panther, Spider-Man Homecoming, Doctor Strange, and Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I mean, that's a heck of of definitely a lineup of what it was all leading towards and building towards. Um, Two different eras, of which case, the era of basically, um, you know, hyperbole aside, um, Marvel could do no wrong in that era.
Oh, and
Um,
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was in that span. I forgot about that.
yeah.
But yeah.
Like I said, an era where Marvel could do no wrong, to an era where right now where everyone's questioning Marvel, and it's not where it used to be in the sense of consistency. Um, yeah, I could see it's a comparison for the sense of potential in quality in what it is. I think it's a fair comparison to say that it could be the along the same lines. I don't know. It's hard for me to say just because this is kind of like, as I said, the potential to be one of the best stretches. Um, but it's hard for me to say for sure because they haven't. This will be like, was it? And that could be a good question, like for the end of the year when we get to that point, revisiting this question is saying which one truly lived up to it at that point. Not then when we see them all. So this is like, I'll wait and see. Not wrong to say what wrong Eric David said, but this is one I would like to revisit after we see Doomsday and kind of take it all and say, is this statement still accurate?
Yeah. And
What do you think?
that's where I'm sitting right now. Is it on paper, it sounds like, yes, this is going to be the best stretch. But with all of this that's been stated, we've only got one episode of Daredevil so far. We still have 7 more to go. We still need to see how the Punisher special actually flows. We still need to see what happens with Spider-Man Brand New Day and then going into Avengers Doomsday. Does it have the possibility? Absolutely. Am I pumped for what's about to come? Again, all of this is happening this year. Like, this isn't over the stretch of 2 years. This is this year that
Yeah.
we're getting this. I'm super excited for that possibility, but we haven't seen anything yet. So I can't say with 100% certainty that this is about to be the best stretch that we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. This is one that we're gonna have to remember to revisit in December. But yeah, this is interesting statement. Has the potential being right. We'll just have to see. Can everything land? Marvel's back?
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a lot more less questioning of the possibility of quality of looking at not just movies but the side Disney Plus. But yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. But we will see you all next week breaking down episodes 2 and 3 of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Have a great weekend, everyone. Have a great upcoming week. We will catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.